right, Tony, we should be live right now.
Hopefully Good evening.
Good evening, Tony. How you doing, man?
I'm doing swell. I'll be a lot better after a pecan porter and a cigar, though. It's been too long, Johnny.
You know, I've been holding on. I've been holding on to a cigar for a long time, T, just to have something to celebrate. We haven't really had any big celebrations, at least on this end of the microphone or the camera. Maybe I'll have to crack that tonight and
just getting together, hanging out with you guys, and bouncing around some ideas is a good excuse.
It is,
as far as I'm concerned.
You're right. I agree. How's everything going? Good. You doing well?
Yeah, doing well.
All right. We got 55 in the chat right now. Let's. I'll do some shout outs, and then T can do some as well. Tommy B, what's going on tonight, my friend? How you doing? Jesse Matthews in the house. Dufresne, Doc Zeno. It's Mark, subscribe, share bell on. Crest Fan 28. Broke Ape, what's going on for my friend? Anya T is in the house. And Hammer. Got the wave from Hammer. Tony, have you noticed an effect on the border where you are? Jesse's asking. Have you, T?
Not really up in Austin. I mean, we have a bad homeless problem here, and it's hard to say how much of that is from the border. Most of what I see is drug related. They hang out underneath all the bridges and overpasses and in the woods and tents and all that. But I don't know that that is directly border related, but it's definitely, I've been, hearing these mayors and city officials and landowners down on the border complain about it. It's definitely a problem down there.
But you're not seeing any direct effects from it in Austin at all, huh?
I'm a long way from the border, right? Austin, okay. It's a long way to the Mexico border from here.
Got it. Okay. So unless they're actually planning on coming to Austin, say, to live or stay, you're not going to be a destination that the government would send them to on one of these buses, or that, Abbott was he's sending people out of the state, correct?
Right. So they're trying to bus a lot of people out of the state. And then if you are looking for a mostly Spanish speaking community, you would either stay in the border town or go up to San Antonio, where you could assimilate a lot easier. Once you get north of San Antonio, then it gets a lot more expensive, and there's a lot less, not that we don't have a Hispanic population, but it's nowhere near to the degree of San Antonio or south of there.
Okay. Got it. T, can we go for a conspiracy real quick? Can I throw up this article? You see
it
above me?
Yeah. Well, love me a good conspiracy.
I saw this the other day. So the Darien Gap in Panama is where the canal is. It's where Colombia, I believe, and Panama connect. Now, that used to be, when we went down there to build the canal, we actually gave it back to the government of Panama, I believe in the late 70s. The land all around it and everything. But someone was down there the other day, and now there's a fort that used to be a U.S. Army base that's there in the Darien Gap, where a lot of the migrants are coming. This is where they're coming through this one pass. And the World Economic Forum has its flag flying over the former U.S. Army base.
Oh my
Pretty
gosh.
Crazy, huh? Can you believe that?
I can't believe it. And I thank you for sharing that, though. That is crazy.
Crazy, huh? Why are they?
What do you think the reason for that is?
So there's of course, there's a million conspiracy theories, right? But according to people online who are, I guess, taking guesses at it, they're trying to facilitate, and they're actually helping to pay for people to continue on to get up to the border, because a lot of them are coming from South America. So remember, we got to go through Central America to get to North America, obviously. And that's about the halfway point. A lot of these people are coming, and they are helping push them the next leg of the journey. They're taking in some people who have a lot of injuries that are occurring, things like that.
Refresh all their supplies and tell them what to say when they get to the border.
ATM cards, the whole nine, right? But I guess they're there under the guise of like a humanitarian effort to, for these people. So anyways, I just thought
for
that was,
for those that are joining in, the order of events for tonight's show, because we're going to try our best to compartmentalize the topics so we're not bouncing all over the place. A little bit of politics here in the beginning, then we'll talk about BBBYQ, what's been going on at that. We'll touch on Finger, and then we want to talk and hear your guys' thoughts on the GameStop documentary. What was that guy's name? Don Olson, I think. I put a link to it in my video description. The 2-hour documentary that dropped last week. So if you have questions about those topics, we're going to get to them, but so that we're not bouncing around like a ping pong ball, let's get the political stuff out of the way.
Yeah, we're just gonna that was kind of, and T, sorry, I didn't talk to you about that before. I forgot.
That falls in the realm of politics. I'm good with that.
Okay. All right, good. All right, so moving on real quick. You guys all know, obviously, we had something historic happen yesterday in Congress. The Speaker of the House was removed for the first time ever in history. Kevin McCarthy, he was ousted, right, by Matt Gaetz and 7 other Republicans. Hold on real quick. Let me just see this. If I can pull this up. So, first time in history that has happened. Now, some of you guys might know the name Patrick McHenry. We talked about him on the last live stream that we did. Back in January of this year, he took over for Maxine Waters as head of the Finance Committee in Congress. So, we discussed him just last week. And unfortunately, some things have come across the airwaves last couple of days, and my confidence in him has dropped significantly. But he is the interim speaker right now until they hold another vote. He lost by 6 votes, and basically Matt Gaetz led a little revolution against him. And for 2 very basic reasons, I guess. One, he did not keep his word. And back in January, when they gave him the gavel, one of the conditions was they would be able to, one person could bring him to vacate, which was Matt Gaetz. And the other was, what was the other one? That one person could get him to vacate. I forget what the other one was, but he basically never came through on a lot of the things that he had promised. And he told Matt Gaetz to bring it on. Matt Gaetz put the vote to the floor. Democrats all piled in. And now he is no longer speaker. So it will be interesting to see, how long, if this guy McHenry, who used to be the head of the Finance Committee, if he stays there. You guys might know he's the one who tried to slip into the CR bill, the transparency regulation for the SEC, to try to defund that so they wouldn't be able to use any money to go towards that. Now, another big thing he's known for was back during the financial crisis. He was heavily on the side of banks, and I'll have more about that in the video tomorrow. But yeah, historic moment in Congress, first time ever that a speaker has been ousted, and they're off for a week, so we won't know anything for at least a week until they come back to convene and pick a new speaker. All right, T, that's it. Got that out of the way.
Anybody have comments, questions? Opine on Kevin McCarthy? If not, we're going to move on to I really wanted to talk about it yesterday.
Yeah, that would have been better. Yeah, yesterday a lot went on. Just a lot of things, seems like. You want me to do a couple more, or do you want to do some shout outs? Because I only got about 10 or 15 down.
I see Scavenger in here. What's up, Scav?
Scav?
Maximus and Anya, thank you for modding tonight. Blazing, what's up? Doc Zeno in the house. I know you already said hello to him. Jeff Dayton, Mark, Crest Fan 28. Good evening, Andy Wynn. Good evening, Denise. Denise, are you up in New York, Denise? Pretty good, says Matt Gaetz is finished.
I know you don't have an opinion
Matt
on
Gaetz, I think is what he meant, right?
Yeah, Matt Gaetz. Yep. He I gotta give credit to Matt Gaetz for sticking with his guns and calling him out on not coming through. He just had 9 months to do the things that he promised to do, and he hasn't come through. Matt Gaetz called him on his bullshit, and that's standing up for your principles. No matter what you think about the guy or his politics or any of that, just based on the principles alone, I will give him credit for not taking the money. His little speech he gave, he said, we're $33 trillion in debt. These guys want to put us in a $2 trillion deficit every year. If we don't cut spending somewhere, that's where we're going to be. And the American people, the next generation, are where they're going to be paying for it. And we just keep doing this over and over again. He's like, it's madness. He's like, we can't continue this down this road.
When I commented in my video this weekend about about Speaker McCarthy and Matt going to do the motion to vacate, when I was reading about that and thinking about it, I thought that it was just going to be grandstanding, and then like 24 hours later, he's fucking voted out. I was like, what the heck is this? Like, I did not anticipate it actually happening, much less him being booted out.
I know. Yeah. I got to give him all the credit in the world for that. I really do. Yep.
Did you see our buddy Mitch, his little speech today? He said the first order of business should be no, he didn't freeze up. He said
did he?
The first order of business is they should do away with the rule to allow someone to vote to order to vacate. I was like, why should they do it? It's the first time in history that it's happened. Why now all of a sudden it should be done away with?
No way. That just proves that you can hold people to their word. And again, you can't oust him by yourself, right? You can only make the call to vacate. You got to get people on your side who also agree with you that he hasn't fulfilled his duties that he promised the Republicans. And so, again, all the credit in the world to Matt Gaetz, whether you agree with it or not, and you think it's going to be a big shakeup for politics, just not resting and, saying that he's not going to listen to the lobbyists this time around. He's going to vote with what he thinks is best for his constituents. I got to give him credit for that. So shout out for that, for sure. I don't know what you guys think.
Where is McCarthy from again?
He's California.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But T, that's the whole thing, right? Nancy Pelosi promised all these things back 2 years ago. They were going to do $15 minimum wage, universal health care, student debt, all the things they promised. They could have held the gavel from, all you needed was 6 people, right? You can this is doable. You can do it and hold people to account if they don't come through with their word. And that's
while we're on the topic of politics and switching topics slightly just for a second. I saw a little clip from Vivek, is that his name?
Yes.
Where he was advocating for how to do the federal budget. He said, Let's start from zero and make people justify their budget instead of starting with the budget and giving them an extra 5 or 10% to spend or whatever. You know how the budget basically grows every year.
Yeah.
I have never, maybe, that's a common theme that people have brought up before and I've just never heard it, but I actually like that idea.
I gotta give Vivek one thing. He has, for the problems that he's speaking on, he does come with solutions, right? He talked about how he would break up some of the DOJ, the FBI, the law enforcement, and prosecuting arm of the U.S. government. How he would be able to break that up so it doesn't get too politically, too politically concentrated to go after one or the other party more. He comes up with solutions, or at least his solutions, his ideas on how you can fix something that's clearly broken right now, right? So yeah, that I like about him a lot. Absolutely. Yeah, great points. All right, so I see a lot of people want to. What would you say number 2 was? BBBYQ?
Yeah, next. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to hear from the audience, like where our audience is at on the whole BBBYQ. Like, were you in it or were you just an observer? And what do you think about? I mean, there's still having nightly live streams, Massalorian, even though Bed Bath & Beyond was delisted, the common shares were, or will be soon, canceled. The company, all of its IP was sold off to other entities, Bye Bye Baby and Bed Bath & Beyond, which got bought by Overstock and they've already relaunched the website, but if you scroll down to the bottom, it says run by Overstock. All the stores are closed. All the employees, including the execs, are gone now. But there is a small minority of retail investors who think, they're absolutely convinced that there's going to be some relaunch of this company. And I guess my main question, just as an observer from the outside, I'm trying to keep up with it as best I can. I'm watching so many different companies and stuff going on in the finance world. It's hard to be an expert on everything. And I'm certainly not an expert on Bed Bath & Beyond, but I've been keeping up as best I can and watching their live streams and reading the DD, reading the documents to the best of my ability. Certainly haven't read all of them, but they think that there's going to be new stock issued and given to them, and they're going to, get $25 a share, $1,000 a share for their now canceled stock. So I'm just curious for my audience. There's no wrong answer here, guys. What y'all think of that? And I'm just fascinated in what's going on from the perspective of being a participant and observer of the retail psychology / conspiracy stuff over the last couple of years. I feel like we're at the boss level of conspiracy stuff with this Bed Bath & Beyond. Like, either there's going to be the final boss is killed, or is this the final nail in the coffin? Let's stop creating these crazy theories because it's losing people too much money. Which way is this one going to go? I want to hear from you guys.
Some people are saying they've in it. They pumped with it a couple times, but not long. A lot of observers, seems like. Yeah, I don't know, T. I mean, if I can just hop in real quick about this.
Yeah.
Why is it that when did this thing? I remember this just recently. The Radio Shack. Was it Radio Shack that this happened to as well? That pumped up like that because people. Which one was it?
It's been many of them over the last couple of years that were going bankrupt. The one that people fall back on a lot was Hertz. Remember that one time where a company was about to go bankrupt and then they survived? But Hertz was very different, right? They had a fleet of cars that they got crushed in the COVID era, but they had a fleet of cars that while they were in the bankruptcy process actually started increasing in value. And their business was still operating.
Right.
And they weren't closing down nationwide. And so they were able to reboot Hertz. That's the most recent successful bankruptcy story that comes to mind. So sometimes things do happen, but I think it was telegraphed early on to Hertz investors that, hey, you're not gonna be wiped out in this. And to the BBBY people, it was clearly telegraphed that you're not going to get anything. And they just cast that aside and say, well, I don't believe this. There's probably a court document that hasn't been filed yet that they're not telling us about. I heard that a lot, right? Mm-hmm. There's the secret court documents that we just haven't been told about.
Yep. That we'll probably never see either. Right?
Well, I mean, that never existed except in their imagination is what I'm afraid.
Yep. People comparing in the chat to Redbox, Carvana, Revlon. Yeah, there were some crazy ones, right? There were some crazy ones.
Yeah, Redbox ended up getting bought by Chicken Soup for the Soul, right? CSSE.
Right. Yep. Yes. Yep. Yes, sir. Yeah, I don't know, T. I probably wouldn't get involved at this point, right? Just to.
Well, there's nothing to get involved. I mean, the stock is deleted. Right? It's been removed from all the brokers. You can't find it now in people's accounts. They still have a placeholder, and that's what they're going on. I still have it. I called my broker. I got a placeholder. Okay, but in a couple days or a couple weeks, that is likely to go away. I think they got I don't know what they're waiting on. Like I said, I'm not reading up on Bed Bath & Beyond 12 hours a day. I just don't have time, but I imagine it has something to do with I think the options contracts have a couple more weeks until those will be zeroed out.
Okay.
So maybe they're waiting for that.
Could be. Yep. They can't clear the ticker until all the options, those contracts are done, right?
Or maybe there's a secret deal, Massalorian, and we're all going to be proven wrong.
Yeah, I'm not going to hold my breath for that one.
I'm just curious for the Bed Bath & Beyond believers, and you're all welcome here. I'm just curious, like what is it that you think you're getting? Since the company was, there's nothing left of the company. IP wise, inventory wise, store wise.
BSK says, can you even claim that as a loss? I don't know. T, can you claim that as a loss? How does that?
If you were an owner of Bed Bath & Beyond, yeah, sure. I mean, if you had $1,000 invested and it's worth zero now, that's $1,000 loss. A lot of the Bed Bath & Beyond followers are hinging their theories on right now is that in the bankruptcy process, there are tax losses that the corporation had, which someone might want to figure out a way to harvest those. And so that's kind of what they're hoping, that this new butterfly corporation is going to reboot itself as a tax loss harvesting entity and somehow create new shares and hand them out to all the old holders, even though your shares were canceled. You have nothing left. There was nothing for retail stockholders at the end of the bankruptcy.
Yuka says they promised him body wash. I don't think you get
that's
that.
Bed Bath and Beyond, and then we have the other one, Bath and Body Works. I think that's one's still alive.
Redbox, Carvana.
Frozen State says, I thought shares of the new company Cohen was spinning out. Yeah, there's a lot of people, the ones that are left, that think, it's going to be somehow, they're going to be spun out shares of Teddy Corp, right? Ryan Cohen's book company. And I've seen little snippets of that DD, but again, I'm going to say, like, I don't know, unless you think Teddy is buying all of the leftovers of Bed Bath & Beyond, which is, I mean, what is really left other than some tax loss harvesting? I don't know. I mean, I don't know why he would be interested in that, or if he has actually said that he's spinning something out. I know that there are corporate documents filed on Teddy, of course.
Should we relay that or parlay that into talk about GameStop a little bit, since we brought up Ryan Cohen?
We're gonna move into GameStop, but let's let people feel free to ask questions about Bed Bath and Beyond. Again, I'm not the expert. That would be the PP show for all the tinfoil 12-hour a day DD guys. I'm just fascinated by it. Like I said, as a watcher, I've been out of Bed Bath and Beyond since it ran up to $30. I got out the day that Ryan Cohen sold, and that was just luck. Like I got out the day he announced after market. I had just gotten out, and all of my DD after that, by looking at the financial statements, said I don't want any part of this company. I was only in it for the Ryan Cohen, run up, the FOMO run up, and it got to a point where I was happy with my profits, and I took them. And even when I bought those call options, for me there was nothing compelling about Bed Bath and Beyond, just financially, with the dilution and everything that was going on. It looked like a train wreck waiting to happen. Finger is the other one that I wanted to talk about. So I've been following Finger for a long time. Again, just like Bed Bath and Beyond, I know enough about it to trade it. I don't make daily Finger videos or space calls. I've read through their 10Qs. I've looked at their financials. I've read through all their risk statements. I can talk to all that. It's an interesting company. When we started talking about it, as you guys asked questions on it a year ago, it was in a lot worse shape, and they have improved, right? They've improved their financials over the last year, which got me interested in looking at it again a little deeper. And I put out a tweet. Now, I don't make hit piece videos to try and stop run-ups. I share my DD for people who are wanting a voice of sanity in all the pumping chaos. I said, I don't believe the pumpers on Twitter that are telling people there's 200 million naked shorts. As just like with AMC, I go by the Ortex data or the reported shorts when I report information to you guys. And the short interest at the time on Finger was a couple percent, like 2%. I think last time I looked a couple days ago, it had run up to 5. So by my look at it, it's not a short squeeze. And it's just amazing to me, Johnny, again, getting into this psychology. Remember how Lou pumped a bunch of fake bullshit to people and they got hooked into paying too much for AMC and holding it for life-changing wealth? Well, now there's these other pumpers on Twitter that are pumping unsubstantiated DD on Finger, telling their followers, who then go repeat it on Twitter and YouTube, that they're going to have life-changing wealth on this money-losing Chinese company, which it is a money-losing company that has announced dilution. Okay, remember Adam Aaron bad, AMC bad. Why? Because they're diluting. You're going to lose 90% of your shares. What is Finger doing? They are going to be diluting. And they did put out an interesting 8K today, Finger did, which we'll talk about in a second. But Finger, if you go in and read the 10Qs yourself, their own words, the company's words, in order for them to grow in China, they must raise money. They have to put more deposits in place with the mobile phone carriers in China, and they don't have the cash to do that. So they can only do that by raising money through debt or dilution. And so they filed a S3, letting you guys know that they're going to dilute. Like, this is all black and white company documentation. I'm not trying to talk anybody out of a play. I'm sharing actual real DD from company documents. So it just amazes me, Johnny, how people can be mad at Adam Aaron and AMC because the company needs to dilute because they're losing money, but they give Finger a pass. Finger somehow on the side of retail. They want you to win. That's what they say. Are you with me?
The CEO's on retail side.
He's on your side. Yeah, that's what they're saying.
He wants to kill the shorts and squeeze.
Right, but it just
Not raise
why do people have this sickness in their brain where they believe one thing in one ticker, they move to another ticker where the exact same thing is happening, and they make up a completely new narrative that it's okay over here? That is what is shocking to me.
So we had 3 or 4 days in a row. The thing ran from 530 something up to almost 740. What was,
I mean,
it was we got a huge drop yesterday.
It ran up from $1.30 or $3. There's fantastic money that you could have made on Finger. And what I wanted to say, I put out my tweet just sharing my thought that, like, be careful if you're listening to people telling you based on no evidence that there's 200 million naked shorts. Again, guys, there is no evidence of that. But people repeat it like it's gospel. And they tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, where is the evidence of what these people are telling you? There is none. So that being said, I still will ride a momentum play, Johnny. You know that. I bought Finger around $5 and I rode it up to, I rode it on that move up to 7. I bought it after I put out my tweet that people hated. The Finger holders thought I was trying to kill their short squeeze. I'm not trying to kill your damn short squeeze. You're not going to have a short squeeze, but you could still have a FOMO momentum run. So after I put my tweet out, a couple of days later, I actually bought some Finger because the chart looked really good for a momentum run up. I sold it on the run up to 7. And based on reading the chart, when it hit 7, it looked like it was topping out, which I knew that it would, and that it would come crashing down because they had dilution pending. I bought puts on October 2nd with a $7 strike, and lo and behold, the next morning it cratered. And I made a fuck ton on those puts.
I think you cut out there for a sec, Tony. Your signal cut out for a sec. You said you bought on October 2nd, then you cut out. Say that one more time.
When it ran up to 7 and the chart looked like it was topping out, I was like, okay, time to buy puts because the most likely next thing is it's going to crash.
Yep.
So I bought puts with a $7 strike, and sure enough, it crashed the next day. And I want to talk about the capybaras hit piece because I thought that was kind of shitty, but I bought my puts before I even heard of that. I was just basing it on the chart. That was like the sticking a knife in the Finger's ribs. And it was kind of a shitty move for them to do that hit piece. I'm sure if you own Finger, you know well enough what I'm talking about. I'm not defending those people, not by any stretch. And I will also say after Finger collapsed this morning, I bought some more under $5. And now I have 4 times the Finger that I had before, and it's basically free. So I just want you guys to trade smart. I want you to read the charts. I want you to play the momentum. And I want you to unplug from this mentality of listening to people who are telling you fairy tale type stories without any evidence. If you want to believe that and you want to trade on it and you end up losing your money, that's fine with me. But don't go trying to sue the CEO of Finger saying he screwed you. And, no, your problem was you listened to people who tell you things without any real evidence. That's what I think we need to get smarter about.
So 3, 4, 5 days ago, I guess, right about this point, a week ago, we were right in the same price range, somewhere between like 530 and 550. And I remember questioning whether I should, if I was going to buy some, could I get in now and ride it up, right? And if I had done that and just try to get, a buck out of it, it doubled that, right? It went up to 7 and change, right? So you would have went well within that number. And now, at that point, you got to assume it's going to come back down again. Someone said this to one of our subscribers who I spoke with earlier today, was saying that, The smart play would have been shorten it down, knowing it's running up to the $7 point. That'd be the best way to capitalize.
Especially considering there is basically no real short interest on the stock. I'll pull up the Ortex here while we're talking, and I know that the cost to borrow was fairly high, even with low short interest. Let me get a fresh update on that.
By the way, T, I know we said we weren't going to talk about this, but the only stock I have listed here on my watch list that went down today is, guess which one?
Disney.
Yes, sir. Ding, ding, ding.
I'm getting beat up in the comments of my Disney video because people are like, haha, it's down $5. If you watch my Disney video, just to be clear, not once in that video did I say buy Disney right now. It was a discussion about having it on your radar, starting to get familiar with the company. I love to start watching companies that everybody hates, especially if they're a blue chip company, because if Disney were to drop to 40 or 50 bucks, for me, it would be a screaming buy. And now when it's, reaching these not all-time lows, but, it's reaching these lows that it hadn't seen in a long time, you should have it on your radar. And I'm no fan of their politics, right? No fan of their woke agenda, but I am a fan of companies that for the moment, everybody hates. I hope the price gets beat the fuck up. And don't think for a second that I'm loading the boat with Disney at 80 bucks, buying a couple shares here and there just to have it on my radar. So it's an afterthought in my overall portfolio. If it drops to 50, trust me, I'll be fine. That's where I will be loading the boat. Just because I make a video talking about a stock, if you're going to come in the comments and think, oh, he bought 10,000 shares of Disney at 80 bucks. What a dumbass. No. Look at the dashboard I put up in that video that has a lot of yellow and red. This means you need to be very careful with this stock right now. There are some problems going on with it, but I want you to have it on your radar. And there's going to be some other ones I'm going to be talking about in the coming days and weeks that are in the same boat. If we get an absolute market correction, by the way, Johnny, I'm about 40% in cash right now. Anticipating a market crash. So I will, if everything tanks, I'm going to be just fine. I'm set up for a market crash. I'm set up for prices to tank.
Lucy, what's going on, girl?
Finger is at now 7.8% short interest with 52% cost to borrow.
So very low numbers for a short squeeze.
The other interesting thing that I want to say about Finger, and the reason I ended up buying it, I'll tell you the reason I ended up buying it. And we should have this Univest conversation because I'm scratching my head at the whole Univest thing. Univest is the underwriter for the S3 for the first 25 million shares,
right? That
they're going to sell. Mm-hmm. And Johnny, would you call an underwriter an investor or someone who is a middleman that helps sell shares into the market?
A middleman,
right? That's what I would call them too. But all over Twitter, I see people, and if you're in Finger and you can educate me, please let me know, why is everybody calling Univest an investor? Just wait till Univest buys all those shares. That's all over Twitter right now. Just wait till Univest sinks their money into this thing. Guys, they're the underwriter. They're not an investor. Unless I missed something.
No.
An underwriter facilitates selling shares into the market.
Isn't that what we were just looking at, T, last week? Remember, that was about this, weren't we? And we were talking about the other Chinese stocks that ran when Univest happened to do the dilution, right? When it was theirs.
Yeah, that's the second piece of Univest. The reason I ended up buying Finger, as I was going through all the DD and the risks, it's a Chinese company. They're unaudited. They're at risk of being kicked off the NASDAQ. in 2024 due to the Holding Foreign Companies Accountable Act. They don't have enough cash to grow their business. They disclosed and warned investors in the risk section that they will be diluting or taking on more debt, which is going to be bad for investors, bad for the financial statements, but they want to grow, and that's like a necessary thing. So it is what it is. But as I was doing all of that, and I was looking at the people that were pumping Finger, one thing that they all kept on talking about was, but what about all of the companies that ran when Univest did an offering to help them do an offering? And I could not, FUD bust that. It's actually correct. There are a handful of Chinese money losing pump and dump companies that had a momentary massive run for no reason at the time that Univest was doing an offering for them. Now, if we go back and think about HKD and Meagle, which were not involved in that, these were companies like Top and a few other ones that Univest was involved in a secondary offering. I call these kind of like, there's no nice way to say Chinese pump and dump, but it's a way for the investors of these Chinese companies to get massively rich. And I have called Meagle and HKD, I don't know if I've used the word crime, but I almost think of them as like a money laundering type event. And if you were in Finger and it ran up from 5 to 20 or 5 to 100, and you were able to get out, you wouldn't care, right? What the reason was. All I said was to myself, it's not going to be because of shorts, not because of 200 million shorts. It'll be because somebody wanted to pump it, and they wanted to create a FOMO run, and they wanted people to buy in, and they wanted to take that cash back home to China, is what I think. So I will hold a little bit of Finger as long as the chart is not collapsing, just for that off chance. I came up with 4 or 5 different tickers that Univest was involved in that had massive runs for no good reason around the time they did a secondary offering. So who knows? Maybe the Finger holders will get lucky. I certainly don't want to talk you out of a play, and then you sell because of something I said and it runs up to $100, right? So all I'm saying is be wise, be aware, and take everything that these people are telling you with a grain of salt, and then cross your fingers and hope you get lucky. That's how I'm viewing it. And like I said, I did buy in this morning below $5. I quadrupled my previous position since I had gotten in and out and made profits, and it dropped back down. So I went back in. I'm on a free ride now.
Yeah. Just, set your expectations reasonable, right? If we know we just had a run up to 7 and change, and you're going to get in now at whatever we're at, 544. Maybe you set, set your sights 50% lower from the high we just went, right? So maybe you look to get out at, 625 instead of holding to, to try to get another 10 cents, and then they start shorting it back down again, right? Say it doesn't come back up.
Well, you never know. Now we have a high at 797. We have a high at 7. And if it runs up again, people are going to be watching. Can it break through the recent high? If it breaks through 7, the next thing you got to watch is it going to break through 797? If it fails those, I'm going to be thinking about getting out of my position. If it tanks tomorrow, I'm certainly going to be getting out of my position. Like, I'm not going to sit around. I have mental stop losses on these risky trades. If it starts tanking, I will get out. And if I want to buy back in, I'll try to avoid the rundown and buy back in when it's done. But you never know. Like, there was never really much warning when the other tickers that we were talking about, like top, when they started running, one day it's $3, one day it's $7, the next day it's $100. Like, how the fuck does that shit happen?
Right. Yep. Who, let me ask you this. The guy who's doing a lot of this, these live streams and the short killer guy there, what is he? What is his background? Do you know? What's his claim to fame?
I know he's got a New York accent.
Okay. It says a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if you question him, how dare you? He's got a lifetime of experience on Wall Street. Maybe he does. I mean, as far as I know, he's a faceless, nameless person. So I don't know anything about his background.
Okay. And the guy who's on YouTube right now that I see a lot of people posting his videos. I just saw someone the other day on X or Twitter post one of his videos where he was talking about, does he have some association with Wes Christian? Or is that someone else I'm thinking of?
The guy on Twitter that is pumping Finger disclosed on a space call that he's getting paid $300 an hour for consulting from Wes Christian.
Got it. For, right? Not from.
Wes is paying him $300 an hour. Now, what is he paying him for? I don't know. Is it to promote stocks that Wes is involved with? Is it what is it for? He didn't say.
Okay. I think that's what I saw. Okay. So that's the connection there. There was something about he was being paid for consulting. He was getting paid a fee, and it had something to do with he was going to donate it for something, if I remember correctly. Okay. So that's what it was. He was going to be consulting for Wes Christian, not the other way around. No one's paying Wes Christian.
Yeah, and right? No. Well, I mean, the companies are paying Wes Christian, and Finger did hire Share Intel. And I'm not trying to throw any people under the bus here. Like, I think the research report from Capybaras, the short report, it had a tier list of all of these social media influencers on Finger, and it was trying to implicate all of them in paid pump and dump as paid pump and dumpers. And since I get falsely accused of that, also it's kind of irritating when people make false accusations. Like, if you're going to make an accusation like that, Capybaras, bring the damn receipts. I don't like to see people get falsely accused. Maybe he is a pumper, right? Ham short killer. But is he paid? I certainly would never say that. I don't know. I don't have any evidence to make false allegations like that. And it having been the victim of that constantly, still am every day. Nobody pays me, by the way. These are all my own personal asshole opinions on every stock that I cover. It was irritating to me to see them throw all those names up there like that. Yes, they're all pumpers of the ticker, but maybe they're chartists, maybe they're momentum traders, maybe they actually believe what they say about naked shorts. You don't know. The other piece of the Capybara stuff, talking about the financials of Finger, I couldn't disagree with that, because I would have said basically the same thing. I did just go through that with you guys. Like, it's straight from their 10 Qs. They're losing money. They need more money to grow. They will be doing dilution. So if you're a holder of Finger, you should expect that the company will dilute you. And maybe we'll still get lucky. Like I said, I am long on Finger again as of this morning. So maybe we'll get lucky. If it starts going down, I'm going to be out. Like, I'm not some hopium addict that's playing Finger for life-changing wealth. I'm just in it for the momentum. There was an 8K put out by the company this morning, which I found interesting. They said, we read the Capybaras report. We disagree with it. We're going to get to the bottom of who is behind this. And interestingly, they said it would not make sense for us to dilute right now at these low prices. that is a pretty bold statement that you don't see very often, Johnny, for a company to say, we just filed the paperwork and we have an underwriter, but we're not going to dilute at these prices. I'm going to hold them accountable for that statement. Like, we'll know in upcoming 10Qs if that was truthful or not. I can't tell you whether it is truthful, but I generally say whatever the company puts in black and white, you should give that the biggest credence of anything over what anybody says on YouTube or Twitter. If the company is disclosing it in a SEC filing, that is the most believable information.
For sure. 100%. Yep.
So that was actually the secondary reason that I rebought this morning. Number one, the price was pretty cheap. Number two, it was starting to recover. And number three, they put out that 8K. I was like, all right, I'm playing on house money now. I'll go back in. Let's see if these fuckers are truthful or not.
Right. Yeah. We're going to find out, I guess. Yeah.
Matt says Avid Trader said he's being paid by Finger. Yeah, Avid Trader gets paid by a lot of companies to promote them. And I think, that's fine because he discloses it, right? If you read his disclosures, he says very clearly, Avid Trader is a marketing company that is paid to promote stocks. I want you guys to go read that and make sure you know what you're listening to before you take this stuff as gospel. I have been approached by a penny stock company to promote it. They basically told me, name your price. And I declined to take the offer after doing my DD on the company because of the financials. I didn't want my, $20,000 is not worth it to me to put out a 5-minute video telling you this company's great, only to watch it lose 50, 60, 70% of its value. Like, I actually have integrity, and I'm not going to take payment on something that I don't actually believe in. But the fact that he discloses he's okay. He's not doing anything illegal. The other thing I think, I think there is a minimum level of payment that someone could be paid where they don't have to disclose it. And that's really the gray area. If it exceeds a certain dollar amount, you don't have to disclose it. And again, nobody has ever paid me anything, not cash, not in kind, not in movie tickets, not in popcorn, nothing. But I would be pissed if I found out that someone that I was watching was getting, let's say the threshold was 1,000 and they're getting $998. I'd be kind of pissed. But I think that type of thing does exist out there.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, that would piss me off too.
So what's 100%. Up with this FBI post? The FBI.
I'm just reading it here. It's a press release just came out of Los Angeles that the U.S. Attorney in California announced the formation of a corporate and securities fraud strike force, a new section that will focus on complex corporate crimes, abuses by company insiders, and offenses that impact financial system. Interesting.
Company insiders. Where's the task force on naked short sellers?
Yeah. Why are they? Who's under whose direction are they doing this? Yeah. Why is it that's who you're going after? Working with authorities at federal law enforcement agencies, the CSFSF is designed to expand and prioritize complex corporate and securities fraud investigations, some of which will involve corporate executives and other individuals involved in criminal conduct. Members of the strike force will examine accounting fraud, insider trading, and other matters that can directly impact the financial system and trading markets. The strike force will also examine Criminal Violation Secrecy Act, which is designed to combat money laundering and tax evasion. Interesting. Hey, did you see that Citadel is suing the SEC? SEC is trying to get access to some of their information as far as social media transmissions, and Citadel doesn't want to give them up. Did you see that?
I did not see that. I got another one. Maybe you can pull that up, but I got another one I'm going to drop in the chat. Maybe you can pull it up. This is an October 2nd press release from Wes Christian's law firm, or he was involved in it. The law firm prevails against major banks and brokerage houses on their gatekeeping responsibilities. I put it up on my Twitter also, but pull that link up and read through the first. It's short. It's kind of interesting. This is actually a little more meaty to me than the SEC going after some corporate insiders.
Yeah, why is why are they having why is that their target is what I want to know, right? Let me just put that website in. Oh, because I can't highlight it here. Yeah, it doesn't let you click on it, Tony, if you're in the chat, huh?
Let me see if I can private chat to you.
Oh yeah, try that. That should work.
All right, see if that works.
Yep. Okay, let me just share. There we go.
And after this, we'll move on to the GameStop talk.
I'll make that big. So, Warshaw Burstein LLP, New York, announced September 29th, Federal District Court Judge Lorna Schofield of the SDNY issued an opinion and order in Harrington Global Opportunity Fund Ltd versus CIBC World Markets, Inc. that will reverberate through the compliance of every brokerage firm on Wall Street. Interesting. Which denied defense motion to dismiss Harrington's market manipulation claims of spoofing. Judge Schofield found that broker-dealers may be primarily liable for manipulated trading initiated by their customers because they serve as gatekeepers of trading on security exchanges and have a continuing responsibility to ensure that their customers' order flow is in compliance with all applicable rules, regulations, and laws, and detect and prevent manipulative or fraudulent trading under the supervision and control of the firm. When did this drop? 2 days ago?
October 2nd, yeah.
Rejected the defense argument how their broker-dealers fails to monitor its customers reckless and not knowing that the trades being executed at their customers' direction were manipulative. The broker can be held primarily liable. Interesting.
Now, so they're basically saying if somebody is illegally trading, that the broker could be held liable for it, right? So yeah, I would take that. I would take that. Maybe I'm being a little tinfoily, but I would take that as if you're illegally shorting stuff. But then, how can you be illegally shorting it if you're? I guess it depends on who the broker is, right? Because sometimes the brokers are telling you, yeah, we got shares to lend out. Then you're not doing anything illegal, right?
Correct. Right. If they're telling you they're available, right.
But other broker dealers might ask you, do you have a locate? Now we're talking the big boys, right? Do you have a locate for your shares? Oh yeah, I got it, boss. I'm good. Okay, your trade's approved. Those are the ones that maybe could be at risk here. Not your Fidelities or people that are. You can go as a short, log into your broker and see if they have shares available. And if they don't, you can't borrow them. But broker dealers, the ones dealing with the big boys up on Wall Street, they have a whole different rule book. So maybe those guys, maybe we got a wedge in the door here with this lawsuit. That's all I'm saying. Like, I'll take any little bit of good news that we can. It's hard to find good news these days.
Seriously. Yeah.
Now, someone, our buddy Donahue said, I wonder if that's what caused AMC to run up today, because now these broker dealers are running scared.
There's been some speculation today on what caused that little run up, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring up the bond chart because you and I were talking about that earlier today. If you can pop that up on the screen. The treasury yields, guys, is what's driving the market right now. It's not that some broker dealers got scared about a decision about a lawsuit on October 2nd made on October 4th, AMC run up. Like, look for the market-based logical answers to your questions, and let's get away from this fucking conspiracy bullshit. A judge's decision 2 days ago did not magically make the stock market or AMC move up today. The bond market the yields have been increasing until they weren't. And you can look at yesterday's decline in the stock market as the treasury yields are increasing. This is basically risk-free 5% that these large institutions and large traders can get on their money. And you can go look at all the treasuries. But when those yields start coming down, like they did today, what happens? You see the stock market go back up. You see there's a inverse relationship between bond yields and stocks. So back when I was doing my daily live streams, that was always one of the first things that we look at, that I want you to look at every morning, is what's going on with treasury yields, because that can give you some insight into what is likely to happen in the market that day. Learn how the market works, how the pieces interact, and you become educated instead of having to create theories on YouTube about court decisions from 2 days ago making AMC magically run up today, or Tesla, or anything that ran up today.
Sparky Bucha says, won't this broker-dealer ruling maybe really restrict even retail day trading, slow them down, may catch day traders, not just big fish? Well, because they'd be more... do you see that question, T?
Yeah. Maybe will it restrict retail day trading? I mean, are you talking about day trading or shorting? Retail shorting? Or you're just taking it like the other side of the coin? I got you. Like, so I think, as I recall what that article said, it's been a few hours since I read it. Broker dealers will be held responsible for illegal activities of their clients. And most retail traders aren't doing illegal activities.
Makes sense. Uwerk says, how much longer do you guys think this bond market will hold like this before it buckles? Man, Uwerk, that's some serious speculation, man.
That is really the question of the day. Like, by the way, I went back and watched The Big Short again this week. I'd recommend all of y'all give that a rewatch. Have you seen that movie, The Big Short? Johnny? He disappeared on me. One thing that I caught on The Big Short that I didn't catch the last time, and it made me chuckle because of our friend AMC Bigums, when the two guys are in the lobby at JP Morgan or wherever they were at, Goldman Sachs, and they're like, yeah, we've got our garage-based hedge fund, and we need to get an ISDA contract so that we can trade with the big boys. I was like, ISDA contract. I don't know if I remember hearing that, or if it would have resonated with me the last time I saw that movie. Did we lose Johnny? Let me see if he sent me a chat. No, he did not. BSKA says, how do dark pools work? Where's my little library? I've got a book here I want you to order. Hang on one sec. I want you to go on Amazon and order this book by Scott Patterson called Dark Pools. One of the best educations you can get on the origin of dark pools and how they work, how they're co-located, why institutions use them, and it'll start helping you realize how they started out as a good thing and how they've become bastardized into I'll call it a force for evil. Hey, Damrick, is he still live on his channel? There he is. All right, he's back.
Sorry, guys. Need a drink. Okay, much better. I was getting parched.
Dark pools started out a long time ago as a competitive, a competition for NYSE and Nasdaq, which were killing institutions on fees. And they said, we'll be faster, we'll be cheaper, we'll even give you rebates, we'll give you custom orders, we'll give you all this stuff, and we'll let you co-locate your server right next to ours.
Right.
And yeah, that's how they started. It was like they didn't like the NYSE and they were trying to make it more efficient and more affordable for institutions. And there was a lot of pushback back in the early days, but then they caught on. And then where it really got ugly is with the advent of payment for order flow and basically everybody using dark pools now for things that they were never intended to. There's no reason for retail trades to be routed through a dark pool. And then I'm sure you guys probably know a lot of brokers internalize their own trades too, right? They have their own inventory. You have clients that are holding GameStop and clients that are selling and clients that are buying. They can just internalize the order, but sometimes they have to go out into the lit market or dark pool. They're going to go where they get the best deal for them. If they're going to get a rebate on volume by routing it to dark pools, that's what they're going to do. That's just capitalism. That's unfortunate.
At its finest. Did you talk about ISDA contracts, Tony?
Yeah, I was saying I rewatched The Big Short this week. And one thing that jumped out at me that I missed on previous watching, it's been a while since I watched that movie, but it didn't click with me when I watched it the first time, but this week it did because of Bigham's. When the two young dudes that had their garage hedge fund, they were sitting in the lobby trying to get a meeting with Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan or somebody they said, yeah, we're here about a meeting to get a ISDA contract or an ISDA number so that we can trade, with the big boys. And he's like, well, unfortunately, your hedge fund being $35 million, whatever it was, you don't meet the minimum capital requirements.
I remember.
They're like, oh, that's bad that we didn't know that there's minimum capital requirements, right? But just out of curiosity, you know, how far off are we? He's like, you're like $1.496 billion off.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I know. You think 35? They're going in with 35 million. Yeah, sure. Well, no problem, right?
Right.
But yeah,
you think you're a big
came in a
boy,
little
and then
short.
the minimum's 1.5 billion to even get a meeting upstairs.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Yep. Crazy.
It really hit home watching The Big Short this time, feeling the pain, the anger, the frustration at the corruption in the system, how the rating agencies were colluding with the banks to not derate all these subprime mortgages and the CDOs. Is it CDO?
Yeah. Yep.
Just like even these big guys that have firms up in New York or Chicago, wherever they were, like, and that are spending millions of dollars on these swap contracts. They know exactly how the system works, and they're still dealing with corruption and shoveling shit under the rug.
Yeah.
I just felt their anger and their frustration even more palpably this time watching the movie than I ever did a year or two ago when I watched it the first time.
It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing that they allowed that to go on. Yeah. It does. It really wakes you up, and you realize how crooked some of this is, right? The shit that's going on behind the scenes. I mean, you know, that caused a lot of damage, man. I mean, they 5 million people lost their homes, right? During that era, and bankers got bonuses. I mean, because of, you know, one little thing that could have been changed right there. Maybe that could have changed the course of history, right? But, you know, you run into a situation like that, and you know,
what really stood out to me is like the media didn't want to talk about it. I don't want to blow my career, you know, accusing these people of stuff. Mortgages are fine. You know, the media didn't want to talk about it. The credit rating companies were in on the fix because they didn't want to lose business. Like, I think it would be naive, and we've talked about this, right? We don't deny that there's corruption and manipulation and crime on Wall Street. There absolutely is. And those guys dealt with it. We're dealing with it. All I'm saying is play the fucking game. Like, all of those guys almost went bankrupt. Michael Burry almost went bankrupt, making his $90 million payments to keep his swap contract in effect while he was waiting for the market to crash. And even when it started crashing, they wouldn't derate the bonds because of crime. Like, everything is stacked against us. So get your fucking money when you can. And let's, you know, if you want to tilt windmills, Michael Burry had the capital to do it. But I don't want to see you guys going broke. I want to see you take money when you can, reposition when you can, and stay in the fucking game. Evolve. #evolve. Like, what's the point of all of us fighting if we all go broke in the process and then lose hope? There's nothing wrong with repositioning. There's nothing wrong with taking profits and waiting for it to come back down. I'm tired of watching people lose all their damn money in dozens and dozens of tickers over the last couple of years. Bed Bath & Beyond being the latest.
Yeah. Truth. Yubrik says, what I just really felt this time was the disbelief by Burry on how long everyone, including the credit agencies, kept lying about the underlying thesis of the mortgage risks, right? This is way worse. Way worse.
I'll be right back. I got to fix my vacuum.
Go for it.
I got the robot running. It says clean bin.
Okay, empty that out. Thomas says, I'm just upset they took all my real shares from January 21 on this RS. Very angry. Truth. Matt says, it was also funny that Avid Trade was brought onto the scene by Blue, Icy, and Lou, just connecting dots. Mike, what's going on, man? Let's say hey to some other people that are in the chat right now. Steve joined us recently. Matt, what's going on? Dan Spencer, I saw, was in the chat. Sparky Bucha. Bell Creek Laser. Broke Ape, we didn't get earlier. Domrick, what's going on? Uric, we got. All right, I think we're caught up. I think we're caught up.
All right, GameStop time?
Yeah, sure.
Let me put the link to this video for those that haven't seen it. It's also in my video description. Well, a lot of people are going to find this very distasteful. It's a 2.5 hour video. But as you guys know, when I do my DD, when I'm analyzing any play, I look at the positives, the things that I like, and I look at the negatives or what the naysayers are saying. And I have no problem with naysayers or people that have due diligence counter to my own, as long as they are respectful and adult in their engagement with somebody. Like, we can all have adult conversations. Every trade, every ticker, every business transaction you go into has pros and cons. Would you agree, Johnny?
Absolutely. Yep.
It's the people that do the yelling and the drama and the name calling and the doxing and the false allegations. I don't want any part of that. If you want to come have a debate on any ticker, that, you know, whether I'm pro it or against it, and you can be adult about it, that's fine. This gentleman, what's his name? Dan Olson, put out a 2.5 hour video breaking down the meme stock traders, and he focused mostly on GameStop. He talked a little bit about Bed Bath & Beyond and the cult-like thinking. So I think that is worth you guys going to watch. Maybe some of you will get value out of it. Maybe some of you will just be angry about it. But I think it's always good to take in a full menu of ideas so that you can grow as a person, as a trader, evolve your thinking. And maybe you'll just watch that and say, this guy's a shill. And maybe he is. Or maybe you'll watch it and say, there's something I can take away of value from this.
You watched the whole documentary? Do you remember how long it was approximately?
I have watched it. He went after basically every GameStop YouTuber, all the ones you can think of, called them clout chasers, pumpers. I mean, to be fair, he's got, what's the guy's name that has a mask? He paints his face like a superhero.
Cosmic Lightning Warrior.
Yeah, he put a video. He put a video clip of him. He's got a couple of rants. Cosmic Lightning Warrior, in the clip that he put up of him, is telling people, you know, we're not selling till it's at $500,000 a share.
Oof. Might be a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's dangerous talk, and that's why you and I have always purposely avoided giving prices or, you know, telling people anything was a guarantee. You know, I don't like using the word MOAS unless I've tweeted it out once or twice as a inside joke, but you guys have heard me say over and over and over, I don't like the word MOAS because everybody has a different definition. I'll talk about short squeezes, in tickers that have over 20% short interest. Other than that, I don't categorize something as a short squeeze unless I can see reported at least 20%. And again, why do I say that? 100% plus was reported on GameStop, and that's what Roaring Kitty focused on. That was good enough for him. I don't need to reinvent the wheel with Reddit DD based on things I can't see. Like, I feel like I have an obligation to keep it as real and fact-based as possible. So
140%, right? Short interest at one point.
It was well over 100%. And, that was one of the things that made GameStop a legit short squeeze target. I mean, who wouldn't want to get in on that? But there's not a lot of other candidates like that. So we've seen plenty of stocks squeeze with 20%. So it's kind of the threshold that I just created for myself. But there's a reason why GameStop went up to $400 and probably could have gone far higher if they hadn't turned off the damn buy button. But lately, let's shift into lately. Lately, the price has just been getting obliterated on GameStop.
Yeah, it's had a rough couple of days, huh?
Yeah, I sold you guys know for the last year, I've been swing trading GameStop. I'll accumulate it in low cycles and sell it on run-ups. You can look at the chart yourself. You can see these undulations that last sometimes weeks, sometimes months. So I sold on the latest run-up to 21. I did not get the top. And then I've been waiting patiently for it to come back down. I just started rebuying, and it's a very small position. So I'm not a big fan of GameStop's fundamentals, or I'm not a big fan just period in any, this is nothing against GameStop. I'm not, you guys have heard me say this 100 times. I'm not a fan of any brick and mortar retail inventory based company. Not Bed Bath & Beyond, not GameStop, not Bath & Body Works, none of them. Best Buy. They're all in the same bucket for me. But they all have different financials. So if you want to invest in one, then you go look at the financials and say, how is the company doing? GameStop is overburdened with too many stores. They're doing the right things. They're closing stores. They're cutting the costs. So they got the right plan, cutting costs. The other good thing that they have going for them is they're sitting on a boatload of cash. But the only question I have, look, I'm not pumping GameStop, not far from it. I'm in it for a swing trade. But what I'm in it for is the hope that Ryan Cohen comes up with some sort of transformational announcement. Because the way it's going right now, if nothing changes, I told you guys this on a recent video, I have a $10 price target on GameStop over the next year. If they don't have some sort of transformational announcement, the FTX thing didn't work out, the NFT thing didn't work out, games are going to be going the direction over the next year of not having disk drives, like the game selling is going to eventually go away at GameStop. And I'm sorry, selling controllers is not going to make your business. Selling plushies is not going to keep GameStop in business. They need a transformational announcement. I'm willing to risk a certain amount of money on GameStop, a small amount, if I can buy it cheap, to be in the play when that happens. But I think there's a lot of people putting out half DD on GameStop, pumping people up with only the good stats and refusing to address anybody like Dan Olson or the other two kids who put out a good short thesis video a week ago on GameStop. These guys bring up real legitimate points, but nobody will address the points. They just attack the people. Do you notice that, Massalorian? Like, if I don't like your DD, let me just personally insult you. Right. It really is irritating to me that people won't address the points that are brought up. They just attack the person. That means you have a very weak foundation in your belief system if all you can do is personally attack.
I think there's some legitimate points that have been brought up too, right? I mean, these aren't these are legit points that people are bringing up that have some historical, historically looking back, you can see a trend, right? In this area as far as the brick and mortar and them, shrinking the size of the workforce. There's just clearly they're contracting, right? And they dropped, I think, 400 retail stores. I think they said in the last, what was it, year or 2 years? No, that's a lot. That's a lot of stores. So
they have to. They have to contract because otherwise they just be bleeding out all their cash. So they're doing the right thing, right?
Absolutely.
I don't.
Like AMC.
I don't want to. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say that contracting for them is a bad thing. It's a necessary thing. And hopefully, hopefully, they can get to a point of cutting costs where they don't negatively impact the morale and the customer experience, and they can get to some slightly profitable situation. That would be ideal. Maybe it'll be this quarter, maybe it'll be a couple quarters from now, but just have your feet on the ground, and just like all these other tickers, use some common sense when you're listening to people who only tell you the pump story.
And I was going to say, there's nothing wrong with them closing a number of stores as far as, trying to cut down on the overhead. And AMC is doing the same thing, right? AMC is closing down non-profitable locations, right?
I wish they'd close more AMCs faster. Like that, we have too many locations.
Yeah, still.
But it all has to do with the leases, right? You got to wait till the leases come due. And GameStop has I think this year, a good opportunity to get out of a bunch of leases. And we haven't seen a lot of, I don't know if there's data that shows when AMC, like when all their leases are up by year. But I'd like to see another 50, 60 locations closed down. But again, you can't really close until the lease is up. Otherwise, the landlord is just going to sue you for the remaining months on the lease or the remaining years. So sometimes you have to wait it out.
Yep. That is a problem, right? We do have that issue with some of the theaters. But I think they're doing a good job of getting rid of some of this, trimming some of the dead weight away. We've seen the numbers trending in that direction, and taking on good properties, newer theaters. They don't have to invest as much money into. They did that. They've done that with a couple theaters now, right? With the Archlight Cinemas. So continuing to improve, and as long as they're continuing to improve, AMC will be okay. So I'm glad they're doing that.
Since we said that about GameStop, and I know that the obvious thing. They're going to deflect. Well, what about AMC? AMC needs over 11 billion domestic box office to be profitable with the current fleet size, the current number of buildings and screens that they have. Unless they cut theaters or screens, they have to have over 11 billion domestic box office, or they will keep losing money. So the industry's headed that way, right? We're going to end this year somewhere between 9.6 and 10 billion, thanks to Taylor Swift and Beyonce. Otherwise, Q4 was going to be a bomb, right? Q4 was going to suck. And Beyonce and Taylor Swift are likely to save our bacon, as I said the other day. I actually have hope now for Q4. I'm positive about it, but we're not there yet. This company's not out of the woods yet. Remember last quarter, and I hear people twisting the facts on AMC. Well, we're profitable. Didn't you see? We made a penny earnings per share. there's an income statement, guys, and there's a cash flow statement and a balance sheet. We were a penny positive on the income statement. We still burned 60 million cash. The company still lost money from their bank account. So let's be honest with ourselves. You can go see the financial statements. That's not me being negative. I'm just sharing facts with you. But I see people, I don't understand why they're raising money. The company's profitable. 1 penny profit, but they burned 60 million off the balance sheet. Pay attention. Don't just cherry pick your facts or listen to people who won't tell you the whole story. It was vital that the company raise money. That it is what it is. Like we invested in a company that was losing money. That's eventually the piper has to be paid.
If honestly, right now, if I had to pick one or two stocks to still be here and the same price range 10 years from now, I would say it would be AMC over GME. Be honest.
Now that we got over the, this concern that streaming was going to take movie theaters out.
Oh yeah, that's dead in the water.
Right. I think now that concern is out of the way for the moment, things are looking very rosy for the movie industry. Now we are at the risk of what? Hollywood. Get your fucking act together, Hollywood. They're the ones that are going to hold us up. If AMC struggles next year, it's going to be because of the movie production companies not putting out enough movies or putting out shit. And if we got another year of that, well, then I hope that the AMC executives continue to relentlessly cull out non-performing locations, because we can't. It's going to be bloody. It's going to be brutal if the movies suck all next year and the company has to keep raising money just to survive. If things aren't going to be at 11 billion next year, AMC, you better start cutting more. That's all I'm going to say. And don't be going wasting money on no gold mines. Be good stewards of our cash. Be good stewards of the money you diluted us with. That's all I ask. If I don't, look, if they're not being good stewards of the money, I think you have a reasonable complaint.
100%. Yeah. They did. They took care of Q4 by adding these two concerts, and that and the strike being over, I've totally put my mind at ease as far as AMC goes for next couple months, or at least the next 2 months. I feel comfortable, right?
Yep.
Mike said topic AMC minus 90%. Wise ass.
Comfortable, right?
Volstoy King says if a movie grosses $1 billion, it's not going to AMC. Volstoy King, I think we're talking about the two concerts, because AMC is the distributor as well. So we're trying to count that into the year-end figure of 10 million. But he says it's not going to AMC. It's overalls and ticket sales. I don't get how people got confused off that. Yeah, so you're got to factor in. We're talking about concessions, not just the ticket sales, right? But of course, that's part of it.
Yeah, I look at domestic box office. Like, I want to see it over 2.7 billion. Then I can extrapolate out how concessions and everything else plays into it. And I don't know if you saw my video the other day, Johnny, on Q3 earnings estimate, but yes. At the end of it, I have been creating this list of all the big wide releases for Q4. And I've been really worried, to be honest, for the past 3 months that Q4, especially losing Dune, Q4 was looking really, really bad. But when we add in now, in other words, we weren't coming anywhere close to 2.7 billion. No. But now we have Beyonce and Taylor Swift if those, and I'm not making up some crazy numbers, I'm going by industry targets for those two concerts. These are not me making up some fake clickbait number. I multi-sourced and double-checked my numbers so that I didn't have to create a fake number. Based on what industry experts are saying, I'm thinking that Q4 could be easily over 2.7 billion between the concerts, all the wide releases, and the limited releases. And I was nowhere near being able to say that a month ago.
Right? Yeah. Got to hand it to Adam Aaron for pulling the trigger on those two deals, inking those two deals, and putting us in a good position to end out the quarter and the year. Yeah.
Doesn't seem like someone who's trying to bankrupt the company, does it?
No, not necessarily. I think we've been saying that for a while, though.
I did see some of the naysayers, though. The naysayers, though, are saying, "Oh, this is just, he's just coming up with creative industry stand on your head ideas just to string this dance out a little bit longer." It's like amusing to me how people will not give him credit for doing anything. He's not trying to save the company. Nope. He's just trying to stretch out the dance for his short hedge fund. How does that help them? How does that help short hedge funds coming up with these massive new revenue ideas and distribution agreements? He's not trying to help the short hedge funds, you dummies.
I mean, they're signing distribution contracts with the other theater chains, right? Then they sent it global. I mean, these steps are not how you could put him in a bad light right now after he just probably saved Q4's ass, Hollywood, or at least for AMC stock, that's for sure.
Yeah, not right? For Hollywood, for AMC.
Yeah, AMC, yeah. Yeah, he just saved our ass.
And imagine, just dream with me for a minute that there's more than Taylor Swift and Beyonce coming. What if this becomes a regular thing? Artists see the value of doing something like that and skipping the middleman.
What if they can transform that regular can, be the distributor of regular movies, taken in and with a production company to do AMC. That's all this stuff can be implemented into your strategy. They've got cash now a little bit, right?
Who, AMC? Yeah. So we had just under 500 million. Was it on the last balance sheet? 480 something in cash.
484. Yep.
And then we just raised 325. So, and I don't think there'll be a big cash burn in Q3. Maybe along the lines of 60 million again. Hopefully not over 100. So we should still be in good cash position. Good enough. No risk of bankruptcy in Q3 since they did that 325 million. I don't see any immediate necessity now that we have Beyonce and Taylor Swift to do another cash raise in Q4, but they could. They certainly could. It depends really not on what I think. It depends on what the forecasters in the accounting office think at AMC. They're going to look at all the movies coming out. They're very good at forecasting 2 years out, right? We saw the court documents. We saw all of if you read those 500 pages of evidence, they're still up on an AMC Investors website for May. You can see they have a very good ability to forecast, and they use internal forecasting and they use outside analysts to double check their own work. They have a very good ability to forecast what their balance sheet is going to look like 1-2 years down the road. And they were very accurate with the the 2021 estimates of where they were going to be at the end of 2022 into 2023. They knew they were going to run out of cash. That's why they had to create APE. So I think they know when they're going to need to do the next cash raise. We don't know when they're going to need to do it. All we can do is pray that they have more concerts and that Hollywood puts out enough good hits and that there's no COVID-24 and that people keep going to the movies and that they can delay the need to do a cash raise, because that really is my biggest concern.
Yes, me too. Yep.
That's
my biggest concern.
I'm not saying like I'm worried about it, like I'm going to sell all my AMC tomorrow because I'm worried about it, but I'm not going to overload percentage-wise my portfolio with AMC, knowing that more dilution is possible. Is that fair? Is that a fair statement?
I think that's fair. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to be realistic and cautionary with my outlook. And then I just hope that things keep going the company's way as far as industry trends, that they can just forestall that need to do more dilution. But it looms over our head, right?
Yeah. I gotta say, T, another thing right now that's helping put my mind at ease with just the last couple of weeks, all the shakeup we're seeing. What you said earlier, the streaming wars themselves, and just how it's very difficult unless you have a standout, unique, like over-the-top project, like say a Game of Thrones or something of that caliber. I don't think there's no way that streaming is gonna be viable on the long term to bring in the kind of money that you can at the box office. And I think that's been proven without a doubt now. The way that all of the, what do you want to say? I guess, how much material they put out, especially with someone like Disney, putting out all these unnecessary shows that no one is asking for, spending tens of billions of dollars, wasting it when the business model before using the theaters was not broken, right? It just had a little bump in the road with COVID. I think now that realization by the studios and the production houses, I think they know, look, going forward, we got to trim some fat here, especially with the strike, right? There's a lot of people who are making a lot of money, and there's a lot of writers in the room. They got to get that down to smaller amounts, and less voices, less Indians, more Chiefs, right? And I think now, seeing all the results and the streaming numbers, that we're safe from streaming. There's no way that is going to, and we thought beforehand that it wasn't going to have a huge effect, but the media went crazy saying that streaming was going to be the end of the theaters, just like everything else, and they were wrong once again. So I feel a little more comfortable.
I want to talk to Namac's question, and it's a common question that I see people ask all the time on Twitter, especially. Like, if he knew Taylor Swift was coming, why did he need to raise money? Right? Are you a accountant, Namac, or a finance degreed person? Just curious, because every accountant that I've talked to, even my kid in college, he's a junior in college. We were looking at the AMC financials, and he told me, he said, please tell me you're not invested in this company. He's an accounting major. He's going to have, he's working on a 5-year program with a degree in accounting and a degree in finance, a master's in accounting. A junior in college could look at the balance sheet and know it's messed up. CPAs that I've talked to know it's messed up. The company is at risk of having a liquidity issue. They're 1 or 2 bad quarters away from having to file bankruptcy. And we don't know what type of conversations the lenders who have $5 billion of debt they're holding over AMC's head, are saying to them. So for anybody that's not a CPA or a finance professional to comment on Twitter, why are they raising money? I would ask, what is your level of expertise to make a judgment on what type of pressures they have or what type of strategic planning they're doing? That's my honest question back to you. I look at it, I've been telling you guys for a year, the balance sheet's fucked. They need to raise cash. They're 1 or 2 quarters away of having a bad quarter, of having to file for bankruptcy. Are they at immediate risk? No, but executives are not going to wait till they have 80 million left in cash to go try and raise cash. That it's too late at that point. You're going to be shorted to pennies by the time you run out of cash. You thought $8 was bad. Wait till they have less than 100 million left. We're fucked.
Yeah. Anyone look at those financials? Yeah. Yep.
So they're trying. Was it pleasant? No, it's not pleasant. I'm not making excuses for them. Just saying, like, unless you're in that world, unless you're a degreed professional who has any basis to make some sort of analysis, just you're going to have to trust them that they're doing the best thing. And then it becomes incumbent on you, why I've been yelling at you guys for the last year, to understand the damn financial statements so that you can get on the right side of the trade instead of listening to people that are just telling you buy and hold no matter what, everything's going to be fine. They don't need money. This is all criminal, corporate board bullshit. I don't view it that way. That's just my opinion. I'm only viewing it based on the financial statements, and they're pretty black and white to me. I could give 2 shits about Adam Aaron or anybody on the board. I can look at what they're publishing and see the problem. And if they don't address it, it was going to be bad. It was going to be far worse than what they had to do.
So I got a lot of people in the chat here. Ryan, Neymar, saying that she's the one who went to, that Beyonce and Taylor Swift were the one who approached AMC. Is that correct? T, do you know?
Someone said that Joe Kernan put Taylor Swift's parents together with Adam Aaron. What's up, owning the float?
What's up, Mike? What's going on? I'm trying to find. Trying to see if I can find who made the deal with who. Well, I'm just curious if you guys can point me to where I can get that info from just to verify that. Where'd you guys find that info? Namac says saying it right here that the Swifts went to Adam Aaron, because we talked about that on, I believe, some of the live streams that he did when he went on with Trey on Trey's channel, right? And some of the earnings calls, I think there were investor comments that they read, right? And he spoke about that, about doing concerts and sports. I remember he talked about those things. So I'm just curious on how we know who approached who. Because retail, I'm not going to say retail came up with that idea, but we did make that idea, known to him. Somewhere to look for ways of raising cash, right?
Stock Options says, my honest question to you is, if fraudulent hedge funds weren't shorting the stock illegally, then he could raise money at higher prices. There's no doubt in my mind that they obliterated the stock price to prevent AMC from raising money. Yes, we're being targeted. The company is being targeted by shorts, without a doubt. I know there are a certain percentage of you that think Adam Aaron walked the price down. I have a couple of thoughts on that, right? We've talked about this before. Number one, the shorts have an incentive to short it down to prevent the company from making money. That could be one very plausible explanation to put the hurt on the company. The other plausible explanation could be the bondholders who maybe they wanted to buy the stock at $8. Maybe remember how Antara shorted the stock until they got their deal? They
Yes.
short it down to what I call a risk-free price. I thought that maybe based on the $12 and $15 price targets that we would see when it was at $30, maybe if they were going to try that tactic, that they would short it down to $12 or $15. Going down to 7 or 8, I never thought it would get that bad. But maybe the bondholders are some of the shorts, right? You've heard other people say this. I don't disagree with that. Maybe they are. Maybe they shorted it down to a point where they were willing to buy 25 million shares at a relatively risk-free price, which for them was $7.50, $8. You just have to. I know not everybody has the ability to, and I'm certainly not advocating. I'll just tell you what I did. We talked about this for a long time. We knew that dilution was potentially coming. That's why I got out of the way, just in case. If I was wrong that dilution would take the price down, I could have easily bought back in. But there was a reason I sold, waited for it to come down, and then bought back in, because I wanted to let it get to that point where it got to the risk-free price. And we've been holding okay in the $7 or $8 range. So I've been buying AMC in this range. All you can do is read the documents, try and figure out what's likely to happen, and unplug from people telling you the judge is going to rule in their favor. It's going to short squeeze. Like, I just read the damn documents, and I read the financial statements, and I try and make my best guess what is likely to happen. It's not always popular. I get it.
Candace says, sorry guys, I'm late to the show. Was wondering if you heard about Toys R Us coming back. Yeah, I heard they ran like some crazy percentage yesterday.
The funny thing is that Toys R Us ticker is not related to Toys R Us, right? As I understand it, didn't the IP of Toys R Us get bought by aren't they privately held? There is a ticker for Toys R Us from some dude in Australia. But am I incorrect? Can someone Google it? I think that Toys R Us is held privately.
Yeah, I see the Australian one here, TOYRF. Now, they have Toys R Us in Canada, right?
Yeah, I haven't delved into it to see, like, the guy that has the ticker, the OTC ticker in Australia, I know he's doing something, but I don't know if he has rights to the name. I was under the understanding that Toys R Us was a privately held company. Like, the IP got bought by a private company. And yeah, they are trying to make a comeback with their little shops, their little drop-in Macy's or wherever. I did spend a fair amount of money in Toys R Us when my kids were little. I was sad to see them go. But again, there's a reason why I'm so anti any fucking retail big box store that has inventory. It's a tough world to compete. You know what they all do, Johnny?
When someone's
They all have this drive to grow revenue, and they reach a point where they get too big and then they bust. They're never happy. Right. They're never happy at their level. It's always like, how do we increase revenue? Keep investors interested in our stock. Well, let's build some more stores. But at some point, they all get too bloated And as soon as the market shifts against you, you're fucked.
Yeah. Yeah, then it's really tough to recover, right? Yep. Stock Option says, my honest question to you is, if fraudulent hedge funds wasn't shorting the
I
stock,
just read that one.
Okay. Money prices.
I didn't read the second part. He says, you being a hypocrite, like you wasn't pumping this. I don't think I ever pumped. Look, let's be very blunt here for a second. Most of the pumpers, Casey Shaw, Sojka, Travis, they've all blocked me. You do realize this, right? The blatant pumpers of this stock block me because I provide facts that are inconvenient to their agenda. I cover the financial statements. I cover legal documents. I was very much thinking we could have a short squeeze in 2021, just like you guys. And then there's a reason why we shifted what we talked about. There's a reason now why over the last year, one by one, all the pumpers have blocked me. So I think that's a very unfair characterization. Just because I cover a stock does not mean I'm pumping it. And any normal, regular viewer of this channel, feel free to put in your comments if you think I've been honest in providing coverage of the financials. Been telling you guys for a long time, the balance sheet is fucked. This company needs to raise money or they're going bankrupt. I don't know how that could be considered pumping.
Mike said they blocked me as well.
But I still see, my haters. Tony DeNaro's still pumping this stock. Why don't you fucking listen to what I say instead of like sitting in your little echo chamber? It is beyond ridiculous at this point.
Stock Option says, so now you're basically telling me there isn't no fraud activity going on. I don't know who said that. I think that's going on right across the market. Stocks Options.
We started this. We started this live stream talking about the fraudulent activity. With that West Christian article we put up, right? There's a lot of fraudulent activity.
Yep. And Congress sneaking into the CR bill at the deadline the other night to take out funding to enforce Reg Show and other loopholes in naked shorting. I mean, yeah, we see it. We're talking about it. What we can actually do about it is a whole different thing. And I saw someone the other day. We'll talk about. Actually, I'll talk to you about it when we get off. I did see somebody the other day had a good idea. I'll talk to you about when we get off, though.
Okay.
But yeah, we see it.
Stock Option says that came out wrong. I mean, you as part of the movement. I've always been part of the movement, hopeful for retail that we could get a squeeze in this stock. But in 2021, when the market changed, interest rates started going up and money losing companies start getting decimated, we had to evolve our understanding of this play. And nothing was going our way in all of 2022. And I think it was time to wake up and put your head on a swivel and start digging into the financials. I didn't worry too much about the financial statements in 2021 because we had damn near $2 billion, but that starts getting dwindled away. I got to be realistic about, where things are headed. And it's not like we've had a lot of wins over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I thought that, and I didn't think coming back from the pandemic that the quality would deteriorate at the rate it did as far as the movie releases that came out, right? If you had told me 2 years ago that Disney would lose $1 billion on the last 10 films, I would have said, you're fucking out of your mind.
If you think about I don't know if you saw that video, but we're at 174 films versus 350 like in 2019. Yes, and we're still pulling in these numbers. Like, I think there's reason to be hopeful, right? Just imagine if we had 300 movies instead of 174. We'd be fucking killing it. But we're not imagining, we're in 2023, October. We can imagine where it could be. And I do, but we got to survive to get there.
Yeah.
And we need Hollywood to participate. So I don't want you to mischaracterize what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there is a possibility of this company being fantastic. We're not there, and it's a thorny path to get there. The name of the game is survival until we get back to 300 movies instead of 174.
Yeah.
They're set up. They're setting up to be a fantastic company. The only question on my mind is, can they make it there? It's a race. It's a race for survival. I'm hopeful.
300%.
I'm there with you. I want it. I don't want AMC to go bankrupt. Not because AMC is going to go away. AMC will just be, it'll go through bankruptcy and the lenders will own the company and we will all get wiped out. That's what I don't want to see.
Yeah, I'm not looking for that outcome.
It's not like AMC is going to go away. The lenders will just own it and they'll repackage it and they'll fix it up and then they'll relaunch a new ticker a couple years from now. I just don't want to see all of y'all wiped out. You've already been bloodied enough. Let's, if you're stuck holding it at this point, if we could just survive until they're profitable and the industry is really thriving, there's a fucking chance. But let's be real about the challenges between now and then. You got to get there. You got to get there, and it's not going to be easy.
T, any thoughts on AMC Goodwill?
Yeah, I've been telling my Discord. I haven't actually talked about this. Did someone ask a question?
Yeah, Mike did.
Yeah, people have been asking me in the comments, and I've been talking in my Discord that there was something I was worried about, but I wasn't going to talk about it unless it ended up being a valid concern. So let's just address this Goodwill question right now. There are naysayers out there, and again, let me start this off by saying I'm not a CPA. Okay, but I have talked to CPAs about this topic, and I spent many personal man hours going through a sickening amount of days. You guys would be shocked how much work I do to try and get you the best answer that I know how to give you. But I will still qualify that by saying I'm not a CPA, and Goodwill is a very difficult calculation. But I know that there are naysayers out there on AMC hating YouTube channels that have said AMC is going to get obliterated in Q3 due to a Goodwill write-down. I know that is out there, right? That's probably why you're asking the question. And I think, as always, it's fine to ask questions. It's fine for that person to float that concern. But I think you also then need to take that concern and run the traps on it. Is it valid? Why is that question coming up? Is there a possibility? So accounting rules, and even in AMC's 10Qs, they repeat the accounting rules, say that if a stock's price has a major correction, a major fall, that might be an event that triggers a Goodwill test. That is factual. But triggering a Goodwill test does not mean a Goodwill write-down is required. That's the key point. And based on my analysis, and I could be wrong, we'll know in 4 weeks. Based on my analysis, I don't foresee any major Goodwill write-down because I don't think that the operating units are performing substantially worse than they were. Just because the stock price got decimated and forces you by accounting rules to do a Goodwill test, you have to look at Are the operating units performing worse than they were the last time you did a Goodwill check? No, they're not. The company's doing okay. It's doing better than 2020 when they did the last major Goodwill write-down. So based on my analysis, it is my estimation, and again, I could be wrong, my estimation that there will be no Goodwill write-down. If there was, I would have made a video saying this is a valid concern. If you are a CPA and you disagree, like I said, I've already double checked with several and spent a lot of my own personal time double checking the information because I fucking hate being wrong.
Right.
But if you are a CPA and you disagree with me, shoot me a message or leave a comment in the chat right now or after this video is done. Goodwill write-downs happen when your operating units are performing worse. You have to value them less than the previous time that you checked it.
Ryan says DOJ has asked LA Department to help. Yeah, we saw that. Ryan, we pulled up the article from earlier, the press release here from the LA District Attorney. Interesting who they're going after, huh, right, Ryan? Very interesting. You saw what stock option said, right? Mike, can you back to 72? Thomas B says, good night, everyone. Tom, you have a good night. Juicy got crazy. Tony asked, got it about as real as you can get. Thank you, man. Thank you. Ryan says AMC stock was doing better during COVID than now is crazy. I agree. Agreed. And all owned by institutions, right? There wasn't a huge retail presence there. Benjamin Israel says, hello, Tony and Massalorian. What's going on, Ben? Doug says, do we have any possible M&A partners now? The new TS deal could... T, do you think there's any way Disney would go so woke they would just buy out AMC so they wouldn't have to worry about what they put out? Every movie they would get every movie on the screen for as long as they want.
If Disney bought AMC to pump their bullshit, then you got two failing businesses.
Holy shit.
No, I don't think that Disney's going to buy AMC.
Okay. Just check.
I think they need to go fix their own problems. And I think, my case for putting Disney on my radar is, I think, like I said, eventually capitalism will win, and the big investors in Disney, unless they're all woke too, will, if it gets decimated enough, they're going to come kick out board members and kick out management and make things change. That could take some time, right? A year or two. I think you have time, unless the market just goes into a stunning correction. No, unless the market goes in a stunning correction, I think you got time to be patient, waiting to buy Disney. Yeah, I've been picking up a few shares here or there, but I'm by no means loading the boat on Disney. I'm just highlighting it as it's starting to get to the point where you might be able to get a good deal on it. Remember when Facebook crashed, and then a year later, everybody thought it was the end of the world for Facebook, for Meta, and same with Amazon and Tesla. Like, I love big blue chips when they get beat down, because when everyone else is running for the hills, I'm running in with my wallet. But I'm far more patient than most people, and I'm not in Disney I don't care what it does in 30 days. Don't care if it goes down $5. I'm gingerly stepping into it. $50 would not surprise me if they don't fix their shit.
We could see 50 before T.
We could, but I'm not perfect at calling the bottom on stuff. So I pick up a couple shares at 85. I'll pick up a little more at 79. I'll pick up a few more than that at 60. The farther it falls, the more shares I buy. That's how I average down on stuff. I'm not loading the boat at 85 or 80. I'm just getting it on my radar with a little bit of skin in the game. And then I very closely watch what management's doing and watch the financials and start paying a lot more attention to it. If you saw my dashboard, a lot of yellow and red on Disney. It's not all green. Even Costco being all green is overpriced in my book, right? I don't know why, just because I make a video on Disney, people think I went and blew $10,000 on it at 85 bucks. Like, come on, be real. I'm not that dumb. But I want to bring blue chip potential future plays to you ahead of them being I want you to start understanding the company so that when the time is right, you can pull the trigger.
Candace says, I just read an article the other day saying Disney put plans together to add a third park in California where the parking structure and stuff is. Yeah, we were just talking, me and Tony were talking earlier, Candace, that they had met with their investors and did like a Zoom call, and they said they're investing $60 billion over the next 10 years on park projects. And the cruise line, a few other spaces. So, yeah, they are definitely looking to expand and grow a little. Yeah.
Mike says short Disney. You could short Disney if if you're super bearish on it. I've never shorted ever one company in my life. So I don't plan on starting by shorting Disney because like I said, all it's going to take is a major market correction to the upside. And I would be fucked on that. So not going to do that, but you could sell some puts on Disney. If you think it's going to 50 and you'd be willing to buy it at 50, you could sell puts and just collect that premium over and over. If you're willing to buy 100 shares at 50 bucks, just start selling $50 puts. You're going to collect immediate cash. And if it ever drops to 50, you'll be on the hook for buying 100 shares at 50 bucks. In the meantime, sell puts. Just make sure you have the cash in your account. It's a cash covered put. That's another way to do it. Besides shorting.
Sleepy says Disney brought back Bob Iger to fix the dumpster fire. Well, he's been back a year, Sleepy.
You could buy puts at a different strike too, if you're negative on Disney. If I had enough Disney in my account right now that I was worried about it cratering in price, I would be hedging it with puts. I have so little Disney that it's not even worth me doing that.
UWork says, bad idea, Disney. Don't expand into Cali. Minimum wage is going up to $20 per hour for restaurants on April 24th. Yeah, that's going to have a major impact on the food industry out there, huh, UWork?
Did you see that? Did you see that the burrito company is creating robots to make burritos now? Chipotle?
Are they? Ooh,
yeah,
maybe time to invest.
Because of increasing wages.
Yeah, this isn't sustainable. You can't pay a Waffle House person $24 an hour. That's just not feasible, right?
Actually, I think it was
sell a waffle.
Burrito bowls. The bowls are going to be made by robots.
Oh, right, because the burrito might be hard, right, to do the folding part.
Yeah.
But the bowls you could dispense, by the gram or what, right? Yeah, I don't know how you could possibly. You can't justify these prices, but they're going to lay them on the consumer, right, to make up the difference. T, it's funny. Every time I think that there's going to be some major correction in the market, instead of the market correcting, it's always everything else, right? It seems like everything else is they're sparing the market right now by putting all this pressure on us. The middle to lower class in everything that we're doing, when really some of this money should be coming out of the market, right?
Yep. Berenson and Doug. Berenson says, looks like Finger on the way back up after the hit piece. Like I said, I bought Finger. I rebought Finger. I had bought it a week or so ago at 5. I sold on the run up to 7. I bought puts with a $7 strike, made money on the way down. I rebought this morning below $5, and I'll cross my fingers with you. So that's where I'm at with Finger. I don't believe in the naked short theory, but it's definitely being shorted, especially when it gets to 7. So I'll cross my fingers and hope to be in Finger if we get a Unvest Chinese pump and dump run up to $100. That'd be beautiful. But I don't care what any pumper says about Finger. I'm not playing it that way.
Yeah, Doug, we just talked about GME a few minutes ago. Buddy.
Yeah, for Doug's comment on GameStop, I had sold out on the run up to 21, and I just started rebuying. But I have a potential $10 price target on GameStop. So I'm as it walks down, I'm gingerly adding shares. I have a very small position in GameStop. The more it falls, the more shares I will add, and then I'll cross my fingers for a good news announcement. I don't in general like brick and mortar inventory type plays.
Did you not move the bunny?
I did not. Hang on. Mass.
Yep.
I got to update Scarlett on the bunnies.
Go for it.
Feeding schedule.
Sleepy says, we are starting to see the beginning of automation in retail. It's only a matter of time before brick and mortar becomes a glorified vending machine. Yeah, Sleepy, I think on top of wages increasing to out of control numbers, there's also the shrink from the smash and grabs going on right now, right? They lost 112 billion last year. We'll see what the numbers there for retail. But if that continues to occur, it will just accelerate the process, right? Someone said starting to see the beginning of automation and the end of brick and mortar, and I said, yeah, with automation and the wages going up for minimum wage and all that, then you add on top of that the losses from smash and grabs and theft, and that's $112 billion problem last year. So yeah, you're going to see brick and mortar slowly but surely become a thing of the past, right? Juicy got you crazy. He says, damn, Tony, I was watching your video and I was thinking in my head that I don't think GameStop, so we're going to get 10.
I'm confused by his comment there.
Yeah, the wording seems like there's a word.
Are you drinking, Juicy? Can you reword that? I hope GameStop does not go to 10, but I said a month ago on a video that I did on GameStop that I have a 12-month price target of $10 for GameStop if they don't do some fantastic announcement. And it took a couple weeks, but you're seeing that starting to move in that direction. I'm not negative on GameStop. Like I said, I bought some more. The most recent purchase I did was at $15. I'll buy a little more at 14 if it drops to 14. But I am going into those purchases telling myself in my head, be careful, because it could go to 10. So that's where I'm at with GameStop. If you think I'm loading the boat at 14, when the chart is in free fall, I'm not loading the boat. When I see it bottom out and start moving up, that's when I'll do some heavier buying. When it's falling, I'm not trying to catch a falling knife. I'm just add a little bit here, fall some more, add a little bit. Not get overextended. If it falls to 10, and then what's the next pop? It goes from 10 to 15 on a run up. I don't want to be out of that play. So I'm just watching the chart and trying to be smart about it. And definitely not listening to the GameStop pumpers. I'm making my own decisions, my own DD.
T, I put the corrected question up for you.
I was saying that I recall watching your GameStop video and remember that you had stated that GameStop had a low and you said it was $10. Yeah. Yeah, that's like my worst case scenario. Like there's nothing stopping them from shorting it to $10 based on the problems that they're having right now.
Do the cats get butt food?
Yes, everybody ate except your bunnies.
Yeah, they got some things they got to work out for sure.
Yeah, and if they fix those things, if the next quarter is good, then it'll get a run up. That's what I'm banking on, but I can't tell you that's going to happen. Like I'm not a GameStop pumping channel that is telling you for sure next quarter they're going to be profitable. Maybe they will. I hope they will. I'm taking a gamble that they will, but I could be wrong.
T, so I'm going till 9:30. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's good.
Off point. Okay. Juicy Guy Crazy says, I see 10, man. Mike said, GME next to my pizza joint is dead.
Here's the problem. Like if we have a severe market correction, GameStop's definitely going to 10. Doesn't matter how much cash they have on the balance sheet. Everything is going to get obliterated, including AMC, Tesla, all of them, Disney.
Yep.
So that's why I'm almost 50% in cash. I'm being very careful what I outlay right now. This is not a time to be 100% invested in the market, in my opinion. I want to be that guy scooping up really cheap shit when the market crashes. If it doesn't, if we just take off and the Fed says we're dropping rates, well, then it's easy for me to hit the buy button. I've been doing DD on a lot of stocks, identifying what I want to buy. And it's always easy to hit the buy button. It sucks buying early and watching stuff melt down, though. I would prefer to avoid that.
What do you think about the... what would you think about with the VIX right now, Tony? No?
I haven't got a lot of experience trading in the VIX, but I have.
Me either.
I have been trading options on the Nasdaq just for fun, and I'm going to be doing some trading on Tesla. But if you're trading Tesla, it's almost like you're trading the Nasdaq. They move very similarly. So I say pick one and get to know it. There's nothing wrong with trading the VIX if that's what you like to do. I just say pick one, the VIX or an index or a market leader like Tesla. Pick one and get to know it intimately. And then pay attention to what's going on in the overall market. Pay attention to the bond market. Pay attention to the financial news, because there are things that are affecting all of these, right?
Correct.
If you want to trade the VIX, trade the VIX. I have no problem with that. It's just not something I would say, well, I've never traded it, so don't try and get me to say what to do. Maybe one day I will, just for fun. Sometimes a good way to get experience is just put some of your money on the line, but I've been having fun with the Qs and the SQQQ.
Mike says I'd buy physical gold and silver. Commodities are always important. You know, I just noticed yesterday, I think, that silver was at 25. I want to say like a couple months ago. It's already down, I think, 25%.
I was looking at gold and silver the other day, thinking back to when we were live streaming in 2021, and people were saying, buy gold. And I was like, wait, it's at a fucking all-time high. Wait for it to come down. If you want to buy gold, wait for it to come down and then buy it. And I won't complain. But I was looking at the chart again, just for fun, in the past couple days. So if we go to a 5-year chart in 2021, around the time people were saying that, this was like gold was at 2028. And then it went back up in February 2022 to 1966. And then if you were just patient, you could have got it for 1640, 1650. And that's what I would recommend. Like, I don't want to be buying gold at the top. It's such a cyclical commodity, and you got to hold it for a long time. This is just me. I've traded GLD and SLV before, not in a long time, but I would be waiting to buy them when they're really, really low, and then just hold them for 5, 7, 10 years. And I don't like buying them when they're really, really high, like they've been since 2020. Look, some of y'all think that it's going to go to 2,500, 3,000. Maybe it will, but I don't like buying shit at the top. And for me right now, it's too expensive. That doesn't mean that, I'm not telling you don't buy it. You might have a different outlook on things than me. And that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, Mike, good time to buy. Absolutely. Arca says DXY WTI 10-year yield up means equities and traditional risk assets down. Agreed, Tony?
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. I had put up the 2-year treasury chart, and those yields, you need to pay attention to them. That's why the market fell yesterday, and that's why it ran up today. 2-year, 10-year, pick your treasury, but you guys got to think like the big institutions. If you got a bunch of cash that just got dropped in your lap, and you could put it in a treasury risk-free for 2 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, and get 5% guaranteed, or you could put it in the market with all the uncertainty, where are you going to put your money? As a big institution who's responsible for other people's money, they're going to go for the easy layup. And that's why it's important to understand why the bond market matters, and why stocks are getting hammered every time yields go up. When is the next earnings report for AMC? Early November. Like, I think the investor meeting is what, the 8th, the 6th, and the Q3 earnings, I don't think they've announced a formal date, but somewhere in the first 2 weeks of November. Do you have music playing?
Yeah.
Someone's
Want me
asking
to shut it
about
off?
the music. No, Anya was just asking who has the music playing.
It looks like
all I hear is I hear a
November 9th.
snap drum or something.
Yeah, that's yeah. I've had it.
I don't hear the notes. I just hear the drum beat. I must be going deaf.
Interesting. It's very low. It's very low.
Mike says, what's going on with Bed Bath & Beyond and Butterfly? We talked about that. We talked about Finger earlier. We talked about Bed Bath & Beyond and Butterfly earlier. Like I said, I'm not the expert on those. I'm very curious the psychology of what's going on in people's minds right now, that they're creating all these theories when the documents say clearly the exact opposite. For all of them, I hope that their 1 in a million theory, tinfoil, comes true. but I think that they lost all their money, honestly. I'm a big believer in read the fucking documents and don't create your alternate theories. And that's what they want to do. That's fine. It's fascinating to me how retail traders do that.
I turn the music down too. Someone asked
Lau
about a
says,
price target. Yeah.
yeah. What's your price target for AMC? I'll tell you what I'd like, Lau. I have shares right now. My cost basis is around $8. Yes, I did sell before the dilution. That I've already taken all the arrows in the back for that. But I was waiting for it to see if they would do dilution and then where it would safely bottom out after that. Now that we see that it's seemingly stable in this price range, I've been buying. My cost average is around $8 after the reverse split. I basically rebuilt my same position for a fraction of the cost. I've been selling puts also with a $7 strike. Selling puts, that means I'm pocketing cash right now. And if it goes to $7, I'm willing to buy 100 shares for $7. That's what selling puts is. I'm not making a bearish bet. I'm generating income, and it's a cash secured put. If it hits 7, I'm going to be exercised, and I will buy the shares for $7. But I don't think it's going to 7. So for me, that's just a safe way to generate extra income. If it falls to 7, I'll buy at 7. I'll let those puts get exercised. On the shares I have, I'm selling calls with a $15 strike. So I'm generating cash, selling calls. I don't think it's going over $15. So that's extra income right now in my pocket. If it goes over 15, I will be exercised. I will be forced to sell all my shares at $15. I'm okay with that. My cost basis is 8. If I can double my money almost and sell for 15, God bless us all.
Right.
So I'm generating money by selling puts. I'm generating money by selling calls. In addition to that, I have bought calls for December with a $8 strike, right where we're at right now. So I need it to go over $9, basically, soon. Because I'm slightly in the red on those $8 calls because I've been losing theta. The time burn has been ticking away on those. Even though we're slightly above $8, I'm slightly in the red. So I'd like to see the price go over 9 this week. I'd like to see the price go over 9 before Q3 earnings, but I don't know if it will. So every day I wake up, what am I going to do with these calls? Am I going to sell them at a slight loss? Hang on and hope? I don't know. I'm with you, hoping it goes up. I have every incentive to hope it goes up.
Me too. 100%. Doug said Ryan Cohen is making some tweets over on Twitter. Arca and Mike, good night, guys. Thanks for coming by, stopping by. T, I think this is a good time for to end our live stream. We're at 2:35. We're about to roll up to. Larry says thank you. Headstock Karen, what's going on, man?
Let me
John
see
Curry.
what Ryan Cohen's been saying. MVOS. John, I have not been watching MVOS. Ryan Cohen tweeted a picture of himself with an old man face. MVOS. I know there have been people following MVOS, so it's not one that I've had time to keep up with. Let's see what's going on. It was at 7 cents. It ran up to 53, dropped back down to 19, and it's currently at 44. I mean, that's a pretty decent chart. I'm looking at the daily. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know what the news is. I haven't looked at the short interest, so I can't really comment on it, but the chart is looking fairly bullish. You got a previous high on the candle on the daily at 48 cents. So if it can break through that, if it can break through 48, it could keep going up. That's really where you need to be careful and watch what happens. 48 cents. It's maybe one I'll watch and check into some more tomorrow. But yeah, it's on a nice little bullish run. Let me look at the hourly and the 5 minute. Hourly looks good. Nice steady move up all day. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing horrible here. All the indicators look okay. Keep a close eye on the chart. Watch the technicals.
Broke Ape says Maya is the next runner if you listen to Zip Trader with his hands up like a question mark. Not Mara, Maya.
Mara?
Yeah, I'm wondering if he means Mara. Because I saw someone earlier put Mara.
Yeah, you know, I'll say this about Zip Trader. He does do paid promotions. So MAIA is moving on the daily, but you need to go in and look at his videos and see if he has a disclaimer that he's promoting based on payment before you believe anything that he says. He is 100% a paid promoter. He'll pull down about 20 to 25,000 bucks to make a 5-minute video. Johnny, did you know that?
That's crazy. No,
it is crazy. It's ridiculous.
Nuts.
And then almost all of them, I watch them. They almost all run up and then tank. So if you're playing it, just play it smart.
Nuts. Candace, have a good night. Thank you for coming by. Juicy got you crazy. Take it easy. Have a good night. Thank you to all you guys for coming by tonight. Anya, good night. Appreciate the mods who came by tonight to help us out. T, thank you for coming on collabing with me, man. I think we brought up a lot of good topics tonight.
I love talking about other topics.
Me too.
People always say, "Oh, he's an AMC influencer." It's one very tiny position in my overall portfolio. Always has been. I talk about it because that's what people need information on, and there's a ridiculous amount of misinformation.
Unfortunately.
But I would love to talk about all of these other tickers all day, every day. I do in the Discord, and I will be continuing now that AMC is kind of like in a lull moment to talk about other stocks that I'm in or that I'm watching. And feel free to always hit me up on stuff. I'm not a one ticker trader, not even close to it. I don't publicize.
Palantir had another run today.
Yeah, I got close eyes on Palantir. I'm still waiting to buy in.
Yeah, yesterday would have been the day, huh?
There's a lot of stocks. Let me pull up my Palantir chart. I would like Johnny to buy in, 1380 or so, where it was at on the 25th. I was watching it then, but I was being a little greedy, like 1242. If the market had corrected, and I still think that if I'm patient, that I can get Palantir below 1240.
I bet
That's
you will.
why I haven't gone back in on it. I think, and it's nothing against Palantir, but I think the market has a reckoning day coming, and I don't want Palantir will come down when that happens.
Absolutely.
Nothing against Palantir.
Nope, but it definitely will get some action sucked.
It's
The life
overextended.
sucked
It's
out of
a
it.
forward PE ratio of 69. It's overextended. So I'd prefer to buy it at $7 to $10. Just being honest, but I'll really consider it. I'll start adding at 1240, and then I'll average down if it craters to $7.
Patience is key, right?
I'd love it at 7.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be a hell of a deal. Hell of a deal. All right, guys. Appreciate you guys all coming by. Thank you so much to the mods out there for taking care of the chat. I know Lizzie was there tonight. I think Prometheus was there earlier. I saw Yuka. Thank you guys for doing that. I don't know if you had any mods tonight, T.
Yep.
That you want to say hey
Anya,
to.
Maximus. Thank you both.
There you go. There you go.
I'll be
Appreciate
up.
you guys.
I've been waking up early every day, guys, 4 or 5 a.m. So if you're in the Discord and you wanna join me, there haven't been too many people joining in the Wise Guys chat, but if I see you guys in there or you see me in there, come in and say hi. It's not an entertainment channel. I'm not sitting there talking 24/7. I'm in there for you as I'm sitting here watching stocks, researching, making videos, trading. Take advantage of that if you're in the Discord voice channel during the trading days, almost always available.
There you go. There you go. Lizzie, Candace, Mike, Heads Up Harem. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night, everyone. And we'll see you next time on the lives. Good luck tomorrow.
Peace out.